And I'm back. Welcome. Max with RHMax channel. This is part 2, doubleheader. We had the security AMA where I went over cloud security, how crypto websites get hacked, various technical stuff, how to not hard code passwords, and where to find hard coded passwords on the internet for educational purposes, of course, and to teach you what not to do. Like that stuff actually happens. Also talked about VPNs and why you don't need them and why you don't need to install antiviruses, which sounds very unintuitive and bad advice, right? But no, actually go back and watch the security AMA. I explained all about it and why it's very good advice, actually. Welcome to the show, number 12, 100% uptime, number 12. The crypto sphere not looking good for FTX or its former CEO, SBF. Actually, I saw last night on CNBC the Anthony Scaramucci. He was on TV talking about financials were so bad. He went to the Bahamas. He said the financials were so bad he couldn't even do a rescue package. That wow. Again, you won't see me taking shots at people on Twitter, or I don't care if you're a billionaire or broke pleb. Like I prefer justice from the courts, not the mob justice and other stuff. So I still want to hear more about how this stuff actually happened, and as SBS said, he definitely messed up. He messed up, but I want to hear exactly how that happened, and hopefully people are still able to get there. Hopefully we don't have a lot of retail people losing their stuff. I think a lot of it, and I got to get clarification. Maybe our guest can talk about it too. I think a lot of it has to do with FTX International, and I'm not sure. I know there's bankruptcy going on, but I don't know if that affects both the U.S. branch and the international branch. But I know a lot of big investors were hit for sure. So did that set crypto back for investing for a while? I don't know. It's a bear market anyway, so nobody was investing at this moment. Maybe it's better to happen now for the industry than in a bull market when that could cause like some other panic to happen. Maybe this triggered the bottom. I don't know. I've actually heard people calling that like Mr. Wonderful. Didn't he call it one of the, not that he's a crypto expert, but he like tweeted something about the bottom is in, and he talked about FTX. There will probably be more than one documentary made about this. This has been a crazy crypto bear season for sure. So everyone tweet out the link, tag your guest when I bring him out in a moment. What's up? Lights Out 193. I read that very correctly, I believe. It's up to you, man. Great to see you. Yes, I prefer likes. I don't come on here asking for likes and subs and all that stuff. I want my content to speak for itself. I want you to make your own decision whether you feel like it's valuable enough to smash all the buttons. If you feel the need, YouTube will supply that dopamine hit for you. If you get it from it, gives you the buttons to press if you like to do that kind of stuff. But I'm here to create value, be utility in the community, and provide some security alpha. I do try to do that as well. And we'll get to the Bahamas questions too. Very interesting Bahamas stuff, because there's a lot of people flying to the Bahamas recently, I have a feeling. So speaking of Bahamas, there's a couple gentlemen who are not currently there as far as I can tell. First one, welcome Crispy Man to the show.
Hey man, how you doing?
What's happening?
I wish I was in the Bahamas, man.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely wherever you are. I'm pretty sure Bahamas is warmer and beachier than where you're at now, I imagine.
Yeah, man. I'm up East Coast, but man, it was 70 degrees today. So
ooh, well, you can't beat that. It's definitely not that in the left coast. It is not 70 degrees in the north left coast. Not at all. Furu Finance, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be back.
The other gentleman, I gave a hint. Foof. Those are letters in his name. Furu Finance. Yeah, what do you like to be called by short? Do you like Furu? I've been saying Furu just because it's the first word in the name.
No, okay, Furu's great. Mr. Finance was my father.
I was just going to call you Fu, but
Fu. I mean, there's Fu too.
Furu.
Let's bring back the integrity to Furus, right?
Exactly. I like it because I'm trying to do the healthy brand of Richard Hart maximalism. You're trying to do the healthy brand of Furus. I like it.
There might be something to that. If the F wasn't for fake,
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing too.
Yeah,
I imagine.
It is.
But Crispy, tell people. I mean, you got an amazing website. I had you on the show maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago or so, and we went through it all, and that was a blazing fast, like chock full information interview. But just for people who don't know about Hexfire, just you want to give them a brief intro and just what's that about? And I'll drop the link in the chat as well.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, it's a it's a community resource, taking the data that's publicly available to us and getting it into a format that's more easily digestible from people or for people. So like we all know, we can go look at stakes, for instance, in the HEX environment, and there's a bunch of pages that I can go do that at. But I wanted to go a little bit further and see, do things like estimate yield for stakes, be able to see in a different view, different framework, how they've actually performed, be able to predict maybe share rates, that type of stuff. So a lot of different information building on shoulders of other stuff that's already been out there, like Hex.vision and Stake Hex Today, Hex Daily Stats, and all that type of thing. So that's what that site's based on, is really just trying to provide more tools to make better decisions. And ultimately, from my perspective, right, I think a lot of people think this way, interested in financial independence, and to do that, you need a little bit extra information sometimes, and that's what it's there to support.
Amazing site for data aggregation around Hex and stakes and everything else. Like just if you haven't been there already, the tweet was a couple weeks ago. If you're not using Hexfire.io as a Hexcan, don't know what you're doing. It is amazing resource. Yeah,
check it out.
Lit's out. I'm glad I said a light. I usually don't. The branding for names like that is kind of hard because how can you spell it, all this stuff? But no, I read it lights out immediately. That's I like that Y there. It's very easy to enunciate the Y.
Lights out.
Now HEX list. I think I don't know what kind of Maxless is. He seems like he's I don't know. Are you gonna get a bunch of followers and go promote other stuff? I'm not referencing any Twitter Spaces.
No, I'm an RH maximalist. RH, the trifecta. That's what Lit calls it. Yeah,
I like it. Well, RH did tear into Gym Rat today. We know that RH does not like Zen. He is not a fan. Which after Jack Levin said what he said about RH type stuff, I imagine the back and forth was going to happen at some point. But funny enough, he did not. I mean, that's something I wanted to talk about too, which was just the Spaces wrap up. RH is not rewarding people for dipping toes outside the community. Again, I don't tell anyone what to do. I don't really have any feelings back and forth. My name is Max. My name is RHMax because I keep myself an ecosystem, but I know a lot of people go between the communities or like to talk about other stuff as well. RH didn't seem to like that. Just throwing that out there. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, that's not new though, and it goes back to our origin story, right? And our origin story is stay out of things that are going to get you wrecked, like trading, like chasing shiny objects and all that. And so I get how people feel or why they feel like, hey, you don't tell me what to do, and that's fine. But I think he's being true, RH is being true to what he said, which is these are the best set of rules I can give you to follow that will keep you unwrecked. And yeah, he definitely believes and always has believed in starving the oxygen from the trolls, from the bad projects. Just don't even give them any light, no oxygen, let them bleed off and die. Now, that being said, we all get it. We get, I don't, and I think he was trying to get across in that stream. I did listen to it live. I think he was trying to get across that stream. He wasn't really picking on Jim Rat. He was talking about, like, he was trying to get those points across, right? And unfortunately, we don't all come to the same conclusions at the same time. It just takes time. Like, I've gotten wrecked tons of times, right? And
yeah, exactly. I think that was the point too. That it's just he says all these things, and just the ecosystem and that's what convinced me to just be in this too. Is this is the ecosystem where I know I have the least amount of risk for getting wrecked. Of course, there's all these community projects that you can go back and forth on too, and there are scams from time to time. Of course, all the stuff building on PulseChain, the jury's still out. We don't know how all that's going to work out, but I just feel like this community, you have a better chance, and staying within it is just going to give you the best chance in crypto. And I think if you take what RH said about it in the most productive way, it's more of like, hey, here's how I feel about this products. There's a way to do this where you can stay in the community, you can promote these products and stuff too. It's up to you to make the choice. But it's I don't know. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't talk about other coins too. But just know where all the value is. Like, always keep in mind, RH he's building the ecosystem with value. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see how, if anything changes, and for people after hearing him talk about that today. I'll be very interested to see if there's anything else comes from it, especially in this downturn of the bear market.
Well, it'll be very polarizing, but I want to hear what Furu has to say.
I didn't see the stream. I was going to listen to it was his Twitter space.
Yeah.
He called out people by name.
Well, I mean, the speakers came up to speak, and then he tended to recognize one as talking about Zen a lot, and then he just kind of lit into it of Zen and what he didn't like Zen, and I mean, RH went on a big spree of unfollowing people who weren't talking about RH stuff in the last few weeks or so too. I think that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest message he was trying to send passively too. Was like, hey, I'm going to unfollow you if you're talking about other projects outside of this community. So I think that was the biggest point, but just kind of, it went from passive to active when the speakers came up who he recognized that he didn't like something they did, for example.
Yeah. I mean, that project did get people wrecked. I mean, that's what people have to realize is that, yeah, it was given out for free, but there had to have been buyers, right? So if you're promoting that and people buy it and it could really destroy people. I mean, people really FOMO into this stuff with some heavy cash, and they may even over invest money that they can't afford to lose. So, I mean, I mean, this is a fun space, crypto and everything, but at the end of the day, we're dealing with people's money. And I don't see any projects out there that are going to outperform the Richard Hart ecosystem. That's what I say. It's like, when they tell when someone comes to you with a fund, they want you to buy their fund. Do you really ask them, have you been outperforming the S&P 500? So the way I look at it is you gotta outperform the RH ecosystem, and then you obviously look at the metrics for outperforming. So it would be community, the tokenomics. It would be obviously the founder, trust of the founder, and benevolency and things like that, token distribution. And I don't think anything. I'm not just an RHMaxy for the sake of maximalism. I think that's where the opportunity is, and that's, I think, where it's going to be for at least 4 to 5 years. And they're always going to be good products, these three, but there does obviously come the point where the returns diminish and you get a lower risk for a lower reward kind of thing. So maybe I'd be open to looking elsewhere. But right now it's not even a question. That's the space, and that's really why I'm a maxi.
Yeah, I was always curious in the product too. I just definitely, after I saw all the bot stuff come out, it became much more apparent that I was like, whoa, there's gonna be the tokenomics for minting it forever. I wonder, in a bull market though, I think in the bear market it's going to struggle like a lot of things, and maybe even struggle even more because of the tokenomics and how it works and the gas fees. And it's just, that's not the best ethos to put time and effort and stuff into creating a lot of, stuff like that. But in the bull market, I mean, who knows? It's got a popular founder behind it. If that doesn't implode or things don't go sideways, I don't think that project's going away anytime soon. But should it be a big part of your portfolio? I mean, look at how it's minted. Look at who can mint it. Look at the automation behind it. I don't think you're going to be you're going to make it into the top top 10 of people, or you're not going to be a whale in that anytime soon with all the bots going on.
Yeah, and VCs get like a bad rap because they get in cheaper than everybody else. But like, what about when everybody that gets in before you got in for free? Like they didn't even pay for it. So I would not really want personally, not financially.
Bullish for ETH gas fees.
Yeah, for gas fees is bullish. Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I only know what's public, right? And so I have no idea what the long-term plans are, other than some of the suggestions that people had about that, about that particular token. But let's put that aside for a moment, right? I think one of the points that Richard brought up, which is very true. Okay, if I made $100 on that, where'd that $100 come from? It came from somebody else, right? So either the liquidity provider gave me a gift, and that's where it came from, or somebody else put a lot of money in and sold, and maybe they didn't do so well. And that $100 came out of their pocket. And so for those guys who got involved, and ladies, they're getting beat on that. And so then the next point, if I understood him correctly, which it's thought about this a little bit too. So not only do you have that amount of money that's going into this gas for the trading and everything, you have the minting, and $3 million, $4 million, $6 million going into our protocol in a couple of days would have made a big change for us, right? In the HEX ecosystem, and you can't get away from that. And I can get the argument that people will say, "Oh, that's duplicitous," right? Yeah, it is. But you know what? I guess if you're a founder, you probably should be drawing a circle around your foundation and protecting that, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, just like the OA is their best friend, trying to protect the HEX price. Richard is their best friend for promoting the products that he makes and builds and puts time, effort, sweat, tears, and builds communities around. Like why wouldn't he be why wouldn't he be an RHMax?
Yeah, and that's how it should be. Yeah.
I just want to talk about too. So the other thing he brought up was GitHub activity. He acknowledged that, and I think somebody brought it up. He's like, okay, GitHub activities came up. Does that mean? And I'll bring up the GitHub too, because I see, when I first saw it come out, it said, 3 hours. I go into, that was the main thing, and then I go into the different repos from there, and I don't see, I see 7 months ago, stuff like that. I wonder if that means if it's a private repo that's been updated and we just can't view it publicly because we don't have the permissions. That's what I'm thinking. But I'll bring it up, and while I'm bringing it up, what do y'all think? Him acknowledging GitLab updates. Does that, is that, what do y'all think about testnet v3? Is he dropping any hints here, or just casually talking about it?
What do you think, Furu?
2 more months.
4 more weeks. Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, I don't know what's actually going to happen or not happen, but I took that to mean, hey, listen, things are getting done. My understanding is also, like you said, it's private. So some things are getting done. We're moving ahead. He's waiting for that. And yeah, I think it was kind of I don't know if it was an olive branch, but if that would be the right way to say that. But it was just an indicator. Hey, listen, guys, work is being done. But we already know the score, right? He has to be very careful about front running. He has to be very careful about letting people know exactly, what's happening date wise. Not to mention he did get burned a little bit on, the whole May date.
Yeah. No more mid-May updates.
Yeah, in his words. Yeah, in his words.
Yeah, I was just showing here, like, when I first saw it, I saw 3 hours, 8 hours ago, and it says 1 day ago now. But then when you go to it, you go to the testnet stuff, it has been updates, 7 months, 1 year, 1 year. So, unless I'm missing something that seems like maybe the private stuff that's not public that you can't see unless you are a user, you're part of the group that can view stuff on GitLab for PulseChain. There's something that's changed, but we can't see it. That's my speculation. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense because, we can see something changed, but when we go there, we don't see what has changed. So I think it's maybe a private repo or something. Interesting. Yeah, and I don't think there was a Twitter thread on that too, but I haven't been around much today to even read them to speculate on it. But that's my best guess so far. The other thing, let's leave it up there for a minute, is he was right a lot. He mentioned that. But I think the most interesting thing we can talk about from that is probably, there's hours and hours of him streaming about, railing against centralized exchanges, railing against some of the top ones, FTX included. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff he said about Binance that, when something big happens to Binance, when or if that ever happens, they seem to be the only one that's holding up pretty well. Apparently, they got funds have been safe for a long time for them. Their reserves seem to be, nothing big has came out with them yet. But is it just a matter of, do all centralized actors at this point in time in the crypto space, are they inevitably going to fail in bear markets? Or, could he literally say this about any company? Or is it something, I guess, what is the common factor in these companies failing? I guess maybe that's a good way to talk about it. Crispy, you first.
Oh, sorry.
Leverage. That's what I would throw out.
If it's not the ladies, it's not the liquor, it's the leverage.
Yeah, maybe all three, but leverage for sure.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we all try to get a little funny when we start doing our financial planning, and you start extrapolating, debt and and it's taught in school these days. I mean, I don't know, everybody's gone to college and whatnot. I did my college degree. We didn't, wasn't that long ago, but we weren't talking about other people's money, right? But now it's like, when my kids went through college, they actually had the class on other people's money, right? What does that mean? Well, borrowing money, right? Borrow money to leverage. And then if you're in crypto and you've leveraged, and done a double or triple leverage, and the bottom falls out, which we know is going to happen, that's where it goes, right? I don't think it's destined that everything fails, right? Because that's too broad. But I think everything that made bad decisions and believed their own hype did. It was pretty clear. I didn't want to believe it either, but I mean, it was pretty clear that the top did hit last April. Not 2022, but 21. All the normal indicators showed it and showed us falling out. And yes, it did go back up almost to maybe for a moment it exceeded, and we had that double top. But perhaps these guys believe that we really were going to 200,000. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at Coinbase too, their stock's down, 70, 80, 90%. Binance, it'd be hard to believe they were able to make money off Bitcoin, Ethereum. They have BNB, they have reserves and stuff like that. But are they just doing it different? Are they, or should we expect some more big failures come from there? Like what does it really take to have a balance sheet that just doesn't get murdered? Your private company versus public, there's other things that you don't have to report to go on with that too. What do you think, Furu? Is there something else coming in the market, or do you think some of these companies that we're seeing the ones that have their stuff together now?
It's like so hard to say, because if there was one exchange that I thought had their stuff together, it would be FTX, because they were meeting with regulators more than anyone else. All over the TV shows, he was all over the magazines. Like I said, he was the golden boy of crypto. So I mean, all bets are off for thinking any centralized exchanges above this. I mean, what they did was very flagrant with the balance sheet. Leveraging illiquid assets essentially. But who's to say that Coinbase and Binance are above that? I mean, I guess you could say Coinbase may be a little bit better because they're here in New York, which means that there's a lot of regulation. I know I can't use most exchanges, just because New York pretty much doesn't let it. So I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Honestly, at this point, all bets are off. That's what I'd say. I'd say just as long as you just don't keep your money there. But Yeah, I'd say all bets are off. If it could happen to FTX, it could happen to anything.
Well, Coinbase, if I ever see Brian Armstrong come on TV and like start crying or something, I'm going to freak out because like, if like he is Brian Armstrong, do not fail. Okay. Like I think you may take down entire crypto if you fail. Like we may get to like 3K Bitcoin if Brian Armstrong comes on there and is like, I messed up everyone, I lost everyone's money. Like how did it? So, but I hear. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Listen, we don't know what's going on behind the doors, but this being said, they work. They're pretty normalized, meaning Coinbase, how they actually do things. And yes, I try to keep everything off of there. At least I only keep a very small percentage on exchange. But as soon as the prices, as soon as we had hit the top, you have to go back and check the dates. All of a sudden, my ability to borrow money from Coinbase went way down, right? What's that mean? They knew too what was going on, right? I'm talking about 6 months, 8 months ago. And, anyways, my point is they were reacting to that in the moment as it happens. Those guys aren't brand new. Now, they may be scumbags. I don't know. I mean, people say that, but maybe they really are. But they might not be stupid scumbags. They've been around a long time. This isn't the first show.
Well, too, I think running a crypto business or exchange versus making a platform or coin, what do you guys think are some of the pros and cons of doing both? Like FTX had FTT, it was a coin. You had, Terra Luna with that too. Is it when markets go bad, coin goes down? If you're leveraged, all these bad things happen. But if you're just, maybe that's some overlap too. If you're running a business and you're using a coin to help prop it up versus running a business and hey, Coinbase, if they use USDC, that's like the golden coin at this point, right? Like if that goes down, if Coinbase goes down, all this stuff, the total thing collapses. But I guess what are the trade-offs? Like what are some of the things that can go wrong and how, maybe that plays into how some of these companies are staying safe so far. What do y'all think of that crypto business versus platform, coin, using its leverage, things like that?
Yeah, sure. I for one, I understand how if I had a crypto business, quote unquote, exchange, it would be desirable to have something, right, that's quote unquote a stable coin that I'm able to do my transactions with within my exchange, right? So I get that. I think where they go wrong is that when they start following practices that allow them to print more, it goes right back to leverage, right? They print more than they actually can back up. And, you start believing your own hype. Now, I don't want to go all conspiracy on you, but right, when you do business planning and you put something together, even something as big as that, you have exit planning. You plan how you're going to exit, under certain conditions. And, I don't know if this was done deliberately or not, but boy, it sure feels like it was dumb. Sounds like it was, what had happened. But anyways, back to your point. The differences between that, I think it has utility. I think having those types of tokens could be very useful. But Richard had put this out today and had said something in one of his tweets, and we know this already. I mean, how do you verify all this stuff, right? You're going from real life, quote unquote, to crypto, right? How do you know what backroom deals are made? You don't, right? So you really are trusting the middleman, right? That they're going to keep everything up and running. So I guess it's a complex question and answer.
Yeah, he mentioned proof of reserves, but even those could be, you could do stuff that are off the books even with that kind of thing. Yeah, what do you think, Fever? What gets, other than leverage, is there any way to know that Coinbase is going to be kept up and running? You said FTX, no one expected that. All kinds of companies were funding and had partnerships and stuff. Coinbase, Binance, like what's saving them right now? Like what do they have going for them?
I mean, I hope they're backed 1-to-1 and they could withstand like a bank run sort of situation. I don't understand how it's okay for them to create a token and then just get leveraged on that, despite it being illiquid. And the question I have is, like, if you're an investor or a creditor, right? So Bankman-Fried comes to, he's like, look, I have this cool new, I have this hedge fund, and we want to borrow money, or we want you to invest. And you look at the balance sheet, and you see 80% of it is SBF tokens. Did they just not see that? Like, 80% of your balance sheet is greater than all the outstanding, all the circulating supply of the tokens, of the FTT token on the market, and like that cannot possibly be liquidated to pay you back in the case of insolvency. I guess that's the question. Like, how could they be so stupid? Or maybe it's just like crypto's new and they just didn't know how it works. What do you guys think? I don't know. It seems very flagrant and a little bit weird.
Well, what do we know too? Just before we get into like the analysis part, like what do we know about what happened with FTX that is so damning? I know we know more than when me and Furu talked about it 2 or 3 days ago. So like, what do we know now that's like, whoa, this should have never happened?
How about trapdoors and backdoors, man? Hey, well, listen, when you run a business on the up and up, right? You should not be able to, when you put things in place, so you're not going to be moving money from one hand to the other, right? Now it can happen, but it should be with oversight, right? And the reason the oversight's there is you don't get yourself in trouble. And what's getting in trouble is when you start doing risky business. But usually, half the time when that happens, it's because things have already gone south, right? And trying to save one thing versus another. So yeah, the people who were getting involved, though, you got to remember, like even as FTX was coming up, I didn't even know what the hell it was 4 or 5 years ago, right? I don't even know when it opened. Right now,
2018, 2019.
Right. So I'm not even. I'm no expert in this area. So they just started, right? So what experience did anybody have who might be talking to them? Price goes up, man. Look at these prices. Everything's going up. Look at the money, making money hand over fist, right? So that you're just not you're smart guys, right? But these guys, these VCs come in and they're only allocating small percentages, small enough that they're able to just come back now this week and tell their board and their members, hey, we're writing off our $250 million, right? Well, they didn't put the due diligence, and I'm just scalping that from an article I read. They didn't put the due diligence in, or didn't maybe understand things as properly as they could. And when you sign up for something, you're taking on risk, and they took on that risk and they lost their money, so yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of like what Furu was saying, that like if I leave the stream today and I go start my own stable coin, right, I'm more likely to be in jail than than operating, right? It takes somebody, a few minutes to get a whiff of that, and then like what's going on. So yeah, placement, how big you are, how much money you have, your connections, all play a part, and that stuff.
Yeah, he was very hooked up. His mother was a fundraiser for I think the Biden administration. Nobody had more more of a network in DC than Sam Bankman-Fried. That's why I think CZ, when he tweeted, he said we don't take kindly to people that go to regulators behind their backs.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed this other day when we talked Furu, but I get this feeling that there was something that happened between CZ and Sam, and CZ didn't like it either. They wanted to do something, or maybe pressured about regulation or whatever it was, and he's like, all right, maybe I'll just destroy you then. How about that? He's like, do it, nothing to hide. And then maybe total speculation, but I just feel like it wasn't this I'm going to save crypto. It's like it was more of CZ being like, I'm very powerful, and you do what I say, or I'll show you how powerful I am. I could see that happening, but chat real quick. Exchange made stable coins are mode for obfuscating. Is this a mistake? Like, yeah, so stable coins, outside of USDC, the ones that aren't failing, there's a couple lost. Is what USDD lost the peg or something recently. Transferring capital off exchange as well. If the exchanges are KYC'd, then I think, well, the one thing is, so you can send, one thing people do, you can send money from the big exchange wallets to new wallets you have. So like, for example, if you want to pay people or something, one thing you can do is, send money from an exchange to a new wallet you created, and where the exchange wallet has so many transactions going back and forth, it makes it harder to identify that transaction, stuff like that. I guess you can use them for obfuscation in that way if you're careful. But in general, I mean, to get the money out, that's where I said the legislation. That's where they shouldn't be targeting, what is it? The tornado.cash. They should be targeting things at the application layer. They should be, if they want to do law enforcement and they want to like solve crimes and stuff, if they already have KYC at the fiat on ramps and off ramps, and you see something go wrong there, that's where the legislation should be. But they're targeting the apps and stuff, which is annoying. But Famous brought up an interesting subject. RAC is making exchange that will have RH coins. This makes us does it make us vulnerable? Yeah. So I guess the question would be, if there's a centralized exchange that is trading HEX and PulseChain and all kinds of other stuff, is there a risk to that being, is that a risk to our community if that gets hacked or something? Like, I guess the worst case, they just dump the coins, or branding damage. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I think all of the above, right? You can't have the growth without growing. And part of that growth is the vertical integrations, and everything can't be owned by RH, right? I mean, just like you could own a lot, but I mean, things are going to have to be split out. In fact, probably better to have multiple, on and off ramps, but you still come down to the bare facts. Yeah. I mean, if somebody picks up the mantle of using our coins as the primary feature of their exchange, their branding affects our branding. You get that cross bleed, right? If they fail and they lose all those tokens, it affects our users. Does it affect the chain? Probably not. Does it affect anybody who's not on that exchange? Probably not. But yeah, big dumps, right? You could see that kind of stuff. I mean, I know that's a risk profile, but yeah, I think overall, if you can't stop people either, right? Forget whether it's RAC or somebody else, right? If they're going to do it, they're going to do it. They're going to build something, and then you just got to roll with the punches, right? As to whatever happens, but try to maintain how we do business in a way that keeps you protected, right? Like, just because it happens to feature a lot of the tokens we like, you're not keeping your money there, doing good practices on when you are selling, not to sell $1 billion at one time. I'm joking, but don't sell your whole bag at one time by transferring.
Don't sell more than there's in the liquidity pool.
Yeah, that of course too. Well, I'm kind of referring, like back to your that whole example about $1 billion in BTC being transferred at one time, right? Anyways, there's just things like that. You can have good practices in place that limit your exposure to a failure, and God help us, hopefully nothing ever happens, right? And nobody fails, but software can be hard, and sometimes there are failures.
I don't think I could click the button on $1 billion transfer. I'm nervous when I do like 50K or something. I'm like, are the characters correct? Are they correct? Did I copy and paste correctly? Did I verify it? $1 billion? Yeah. I'd be like, I don't want to click that button.
And worst things I've ever had to do is buy a house and buy a car. Man, makes me sick spending that kind of money. But anyways, that's because my whole fire approach is like frugal, and I'm wearing the same pair of socks from last year. I washed them, but they're still a year old.
That's right. You do have a fire approach. We may, anyone in the chat ask us if we want to get Crispy talking about that too. Is his retirement plan? I have a clip on it as well. Actually, I don't know if I posted it yet. It may be scheduled to come up later, but very interesting retirement and fire retirement plan that Crispy has. CFO to go. Does Coast team have legitimate viable solution on ramping Fiat with their exchange model? Yeah, that's as y'all know, I've had them on a couple times. Really a fan of the dev team. Those boys seem serious. They really want to get after it. They remind me of Maximus in a way. They really just love building products around the ecosystem. But they're trying to do something very hard and very interesting, which is the Fiat on-ramp, the stablecoin CST. And, they have the weight. They have, I think they have another coin coming up later on too. But they're trying to, do it all. It gets very complex when you're trying to do escrow and you're trying to, just do a stable coin in general, just beyond all the licensing and all the paperwork stuff. Actually building infrastructure that is secure against that stuff is hard. So what do you think about just teams in general, whether you have an opinion on Coast or not, but what do you think about, Richard today said it, someone asked him, what else we need to build? And he's like, I don't think you need to build anything. And we have everything we need for PulseChain. I'm like, I don't know if he's being facetious or what at the end, but there's definitely people building.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
The complexity of these products, like what do you think about the maybe the new stable coins coming on PulseChain?
I'll be very interested to see how they work out. I mean, you know much about those, Fubru?
No, I don't know much about those, but I would say the most important thing to build is on and off ramps. That's without a question. I mean, because Richard's been doing pretty much everything else that needs to be done. You have the DEX and you have obviously HEX, and then you have the layer 1. The only thing is, like, it's a little bit of a pain if you have to buy ETH or whatever and then bridge it, or buy USDC and then bridge it onto PulseChain. I think it would be better if you'd have an exchange that lists PulseChain or a stable coin that operates on PulseChain, so people could just, the same way you kind of get your funds from Coinbase to your MetaMask, and then you could just use the DEX. I think that would be awesome if you could just get that from whatever centralized exchange and then just right onto PulseChain as your layer 1 and use the DEX. I think that's the most important thing to be built. But I don't know anything about. I know Liquid Loans is going to have USDL as a stable coin.
Right, that's one.
Yeah, I don't know much about the other ones, but
yeah, I don't have much to say about it either, except my understanding is, and I may misunderstand, is the Coast one would be 100% backed, right? I believe that's their thinking, but I guess I'm not the right person to even state that. That's my belief, though.
I think during the interview, they talked about that.
Yeah, now I've had some interactions with Coast guys. I like their whole approach to things. I think they're anecdotal just from knowing them and talking with them. I think they have the community in mind, and they're good actors, right? But we have to see how everything plays out. For we start talking about on-ramps. We got on-ramps coming from right, Power City is doing the on-ramp. We got Rack, and then the Coast guys, right? So at least 3 on-ramps, on-off ramps are coming. Not to mention that probably some existing ones will adopt, right, at some point. And then just kind of like Fu was saying, right? If I got a bridge, I have access to everything I need.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Moonwest, use liquidity pool against the stable to ladder out large positions. Yeah, that's you don't need to market dump. You don't even need to limit dump. You don't need to make these traditional trades. If you have large positions, you can use liquidity pools. You can get to put one coin in, get the other one that you want out. Whether it's USDC, if you got a lot of HEX, you don't want to kill the price. You can do that with that too. Learn how to use liquidity pools to your advantage. I got a bunch of videos, either from the interviews or scheduled come out to describing why this is a good idea. But we don't need to see big wick downs in HEX or anything else. It's not necessary. There's more advanced ways to do this and keep more of your money, less slippage. Just a lot better ways to do it than just market dumps.
Yeah, what a nice problem, by the way. I'm sitting on so much money, I don't know how to get out.
It's the sell button. The sell button that works, right? Yeah.
But it's because of it's really because of the time lock though that like we have these problems, because it's really whales problems, and whales generally know what they're doing, but Hex really allows people that aren't whales to become whales because they can't sell. They have to delay gratification.
Yeah.
And they have to learn to be a whale. You know, with great power comes great responsibility.
Learn to be a whale. Yes. Oh yeah, UFO to go. Oh, talking about the fiat obfuscation. Centralized exchanges should never move exchange deposits into wallets controlled by other parties. Yeah, I mean that's been maybe that's what's one of the biggest problems that's been happening to places. So maybe that's what happened to FTX too. They were like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to just create things, but maybe one things that they may do that could get them into trouble is using funds from users as leverage or investing in other things, and then it not going so well, and then hey, we're like the bank, but we don't have your money anymore. That kind of thing.
I got a question for UFO. Maybe I'll answer this.
Okay.
How about the contagion theory? So I don't know how real any of this is, but I saw a whole bunch of posts and stuff going on today coming out talking about token projects, crypto projects that had taken their money, their tokens and other assets, maybe it wasn't their tokens, and had shipped them off to FTX. You know, had taken loans against them. You know, those types of things, and that this unwinding of this, you know, of this exchange is going to possibly bankrupt some of these projects. I don't know if that's true or not. You guys hear anything about that?
Well, it certainly sounds like an FTX example, either the investments or the you know, whatever money was rolled up into them, that after they started failing, now they can't, you know, maybe I mean, the market cap, I don't know what it's assumed to be right now, but it's not 32 billion anymore. It may not be 1 billion anymore. It may not be $500 million anymore. I mean, a lot of them, as you mentioned earlier, kind of writing off the investments. If they can't pay back, you know, some of the things they borrowed against, that does have that contagion effect where it just snowballs away, and yeah, everyone maybe defaults on each other. We kind of saw that with what was it? Three Arrows? That was like one of the early ones this summer that went down, and it just kind of like hit a few different firms. But yeah, with FTX, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot more. That's why I want all these details. Like, I want to see how these strings are getting cut. I want to see which ones are going down, because then we can see just how big this is. I don't think we know exactly how big it is yet. But Furu seems to be nose down in this story. Yeah, you got anything spicy, Dad?
Well, I know that. So the Luna was the catalyst for the Celsius insolvency. In terms of the whole, you're asking the whole all these things being intertwined, and if FTX can't, and a lot of like the lifeline of these other exchanges would be FTX being able to remaining solvent, kind of thing.
Yeah, just what maybe too, like how will we know? We just need to, I mean, the next few weeks we just need to look at the news every once in a while, and we just see the headlines of, oh, another one goes down, another one goes down. Oh, they were also connected to FTX. Like, how do we even put these pieces together? I
know KuCoin already halted withdrawals, and obviously BlockFi is going under. They halted withdrawals because like their lifeline was Bankman-Fried, and Voyager. They were relying on FTX as well, right? So that's already, I mean, once it's official that BlockFi and Voyager are out, and you know, I'm sure they're holding a lot of crypto on their balance sheet that they're gonna have to liquidate to pay back creditors. I mean, it could get worse. I was thinking, like, remember, like Richard was saying, like everybody bought, there's no one else to buy. You know, the richest man bought. So like we're seeing that sort of in reverse. Like everyone's getting wrecked, but soon there'll be no one else to get wrecked, and we could only go up.
Has the brokest pleb got wrecked yet? Was that like the other side?
Yeah, it's kind of it, right?
I think Armstrong is the Elon Musk. He has to get wrecked, and then we could go back up.
That's wicked.
Yeah, man. That's a great analogy.
I don't think we're, you know, I think we still got 11K and pray ahead of us. You know, it's kind of stealing that from Richard. I mean, even just loosely looking at the technicals, unless somebody does something to delay what's going to happen, right? We have a very large support band, maybe down at that 11K range, but there's nothing there, between now and, between this current level and there. You might have made an argument it was going to stay up at 19, but it didn't. But anyways, for us, if we're in the RH system, what's it matter? Yeah, I mean, it affects us certainly, but I mean, if you truly are focused in that area, we're just waiting it out.
What is the best? So just on that, if you got hex stakes coming up, like what is it the best time to restake them to get the T shares? Like what are the next few months? Maybe we bought them now, maybe we bought them in a couple months, but like what can people do to really take advantage of, if they have hex right now or looking to get into it? Like how can they most take advantage of it right now during when the blood is on the streets?
I would say buy.
Buy and stake, man. And now that is the stake part's a little more complicated. Yeah. Don't buy anything because I told you to do it. That's for sure. I think sooner in the hex, once you decide you want to go into hex, you're going to be in hex, and then you decide you're going to stake. The best time to stake is always as soon as you have the hex, right? How long you stake depends on your planning. And what you're looking to do, and of course depends on whether you're using the the derivatives or not. Whether you're going to be in the Maximus area or over in the Hadron area. But yeah, in general, it's now, man. I mean, I'm looking to deploy more capital, and I'm looking at prices. It seems in the crypto world, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but it would seem to me that we're going to go back at some point to the all-time high. And maybe we'll exceed that. So looks like a great proposition to me. And then I did throw something out on Hexfire today. Put a new chart up. You can go there and actually go see what the different ROIs and APYs have been for certain stakes, like real data. So if you want to go see what every 30-day stake paid out in ROI or APY since the beginning of 21, you can go do that and look at every single day and see what they paid out. And it draws a very strong picture that it's down and to the right, because the more participation we have, this is expected. You see more participation, more T-shares, that yield goes down, and the longer you stake, the better it pays. So I mean, it's very much what we already know.
Very cool. Yeah, I was going to ask maybe at the end too. I'll ask, what are the new? I know there's some new things going on with Hexfire.io that definitely want to get into to make sure people know about, because those charts. I mean, we got hexmodel.com where Dev Huey's been blazing through some stuff for all the HSI auctions coming up tomorrow. I think I almost forgot about it. I've been so busy lately. Like, oh yeah, the auctions are coming up. The stuff we've been talking about for 2 months.
Just about 23 hours from now. Yeah.
Gonna be crazy too. UFO came back. Chris B, the loans contagion is real. DeFi lending gets liquidated when they lend out non-peg stables that fail. That's a great point. Non-peg stables that fail when you lend out, FTT, stuff like that, or stables that they're not that lose their peg too. Collateral syncs with the ship. Yeah.
I just point out, isn't it funny that everyone thought it was going to be USDT that would bring about the bear market, and it was FTT.
Tether has been the devil forever. Everyone's been waiting on it to fail forever. They may be the Lindy effect with Tether. Like the longer it's around surviving, the longer it's going to not fail. Like Tether is the one it's the most obvious one that should have problems, but it just, one time it was rumored to have problems, and now everything else around it's failing, funny enough. What about Pulse Lightning Network bridge for? Yeah, you all know about. I don't know anything about Pulse Lightning Network. You all know about that project. Apparently, that's a project that can be a bridge. You can bridge BTC. You can bridge BTC into PLS. That'd be anything. Anytime we can bridge more capital into PulseChain.
You could also bridge the wrap BTC from ETH into PulseChain. That could also be I don't see why you need to bridge the BTC if you could already bridge the wrap BTC. Does that make sense?
Well, maybe you're incentivized with some coin. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
you're wrapping something that's wrapped. It's like a double wrap.
I wonder if they are bridging wrap BTC in the P.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful. Well, not you have to be careful. I think that there's different things going on, right? And perhaps may not want to travel across one chain and be on the other. You know, maybe I want to stay in Bitcoin. Remember, if nothing else, from an accounting perspective, I found it easier to move my Bitcoin directly on the Bitcoin network or something related, rather than swapping it to the Ethereum chain by bridging. So maybe it's just that customers get to have choices. Maybe that's what it is. Sorry, I want going off on a tangent there, Fubu.
I was interested too if it's actually cross chain from BTC to Pulse, or if it was wrapped BTC from Ethereum onto Pulse. PulseChain's fast, simplest fiat on ramp. Interesting. Yeah, I think I've heard of it, but I never did. I don't know much about it, and I haven't looked into it. But it is a bridge, and as usual, the first thing that comes to mind is let's have some security audits for sure, because bridges are very importante for security, and making sure they don't get compromised. So, but yeah, hopefully they have a good product here and produce some audits and stuff like that. But it's on testnet, so you can play with it. Interesting. I wasn't aware of this one. So there's a sacrifice.
There's so many projects, man. There's so many things coming up. People contact me all the time, and you hear about them. There's so many I couldn't even possibly keep track of them.
Yeah, I said it's the .com bubble. Like we're having the Pulse.com bubble where you say put Pulse on your thing, and then you say you sacrifice, no expectations. You raise a couple 100,000 easy.
Well, hopefully it's not going to be the downside of the bubble. But yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Liquid loans is much needed utility for Pulse. Liquidity is held in LUSD, USDL, PEG, and most extreme dumps for the bear. That's interesting. I think liquid loans launching, assuming PulseChain launches in a bear market, the liquid loan launches maybe a few weeks after that in the bear market. Let's get the maybe try to get a lot of the volatility out of the way. Some of the loans, depending on how much leverage, whether you're able to pay it back, people maybe get liquidated, maybe they don't. That's going to be interesting to watch next year as well, just to see how that performs, and if it's able to be that shining object, not shining object, shining example on the hill, shining
city
on the hill.
Yeah, there you go, shining city on the hill. I could not think of how to say it.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I hope so. I think if they do a good job and the product works as expected, that's going to provide a lot of utility for PulseChain. Notes, rumors, but didn't RH mention OKX Trust Wallet? I don't know about Trust Wallet. He mentioned before about OKX was supposed to list PulseChain. Trust Wallet, you guys hear anything about Trust Wallet listing PulseChain?
Yeah, it's way old news, but meaning that we're talking about almost probably last year, that some messages came out saying that they were going to be adopting it or utilizing it. So haven't heard anything recent.
Nice. Patrice says, "Wow, just check out Kosa. Hedron yield had 25. Really?
Yeah, I like that.
What?
Yeah, there was
I'm gonna check that.
Yeah, so here's the limited backstory. I don't know any details. Someone, SA, maybe someone else, did a huge burn today, and everyone had received a lot of yield. In conjunction with that, announcement was made that there was something wrong with the contract calculation for a specific bonus. And in my very simple layman terms, a lot of people don't understand that you can't do decimals or something within Solidity. And I'm not a Solidity programmer. You probably know what I'm talking about. And I probably can't explain it. Anyways, too many digits. And it was blocking some sort of bonus. And that came to light. today. So those two are connected. And if you want more information, you go see Alex's post in the Hedron and Icosa telegrams. He's got that, as well as Twitter. He's got it up on his Twitter. So these two events concurred at the same time. We found out about it, and we saw this big bonus jump.
That is very
or not
interesting.
bonus jump, yield jump. Yeah, I've been adding mine up by hand, so I like seeing that it's a bigger number. And
that's 25x yield. So everyone, that does not mean 25x for 25x what you have in there more. That means just the yield for that day was 25 times bigger.
Yeah, it was substantial, but yeah, it wasn't all. I don't have 25 times the Icosa. Just my yield today was higher. I don't even know if it was actually 25, but I just know it's higher.
I can never spell his name correctly, so I'm trying to find it on Twitter. Just a minute. Synergy, but it's spelled with two other characters. There's a 3 in there. There we go. 3 and a 6. There we go. Let's see. I'll bring his Twitter up just so we can scroll through it together. Notice to all custody users. Okay, looks like cool that auctions are on there. I haven't checked that out yet either. I need to get up to date on that. So instead of using Hedron.pro, which could not handle all these auctions coming along, I remember trying to use it before just for simple ones, and it was struggling from time to time. So it looks like now you can use the new interface for that. You talking about UUIDs or something here? You say you posted it. Oh God, really? Paywalled. I don't see anything about the number thing on here, but
yeah, well, he didn't put out a percentage or a number. So other people are just extrapolating what it was.
Okay.
You'd have to go look. But I did go look at the auctions. We got auctions that kicked off. So
okay, so is tomorrow when they're ending at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow? Is day one ending, or is the bigger one starting?
I guess that's what it is, because they're all on the 24-hour countdown already.
Okay, so
I see 122 of them have kicked off.
Okay, so maybe so tomorrow. So I think 5 p.m. is when 5 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, I think, is when the countdown timer. Yeah, that's right, because it's 5 p.m. now, so it would make sense the 23 hours or so. And then I'm going to be doing a stream on the 15th, so that should be ending day 2 or ending day 3, one of those, to go over the auctions and what happened the first couple of days, and so that should be nice. That should be really fun. Tin Top says, "Love Hexfire, great job, Crispy." Yep.
+1.
Yeah, boy, you're gonna see some FOMO on this Hedron, man. I know we didn't see the pump we expected, but
yeah, when pump, Dev, when pump.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking right now, and I'm looking at 20. The minimum bid is 20 million Hedron on a 3T share stake, and I would bid on that 300 times if I could get it, right? So somebody's going to pay a lot more than that. Anyways,
the Poly executive may pay a lot as well.
Yep. I mean, some of them started getting bid up, like the real big ones. Like I see a 10T share one. It's almost $1 billion Hedron. Anyways, let's see what happens tomorrow or tonight. Excited. I mean, Hedron's been pumping a little bit. It's up 4% since close, 4.5%. And let's see, did they have a green candle yesterday? Yeah, it had a nice green candle yesterday, though. You kind of overcome the down pressure of the last couple of days. So I don't know. It's up
400%.
Yeah, it's up about 15% over the last 2 days.
Okay.
Cooking with oil,
frog
man.
legs. Somebody's in the chat mentioning frog legs, and then Kermit disapproves. Now you got me thinking of all the Kermit drinking iced tea memes and stuff. Anyway, UFO said, I heard that Alameda research for about a huge amount of USDT. You guys know anything about that?
I mean, does that really matter? Is that really what? As long as Tether's is backed and could redeem it, does that really matter? That's really the question. I heard about it, but I don't understand the problem. I mean, as long as Tether is clean, which I hope it is.
Is this when Tether goes down? We'll see. If anything's going to go down in this bear market, I can't see Tether going down in 2026, 2027 or something. I don't know. Like, I don't base that on literally anything other than I feel like at this market, if there's any cracks in it at this point, people have been waiting on it forever. It hasn't really faltered yet. It would happen now, but just what do I know? Right? Back to Kosa. We'll wrap up here in a minute. It's a good question. Polyswap ended. Did it end? It should have, I imagine, because auction started. So I imagine it ended. You guys know? Polyswap.
I believe that if I understood his last stream that he was on, you have until 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. Well, whatever the hell, I can't remember where everybody is. Midnight Zulu, I think, of today, which is whatever your time is right. For Quattro Sync or Quattro Zero, whatever.
End of UTC day, November 14th? Hold on.
One of these days.
So they're gonna be using what poly they have to bid on the auctions. Okay, I just assumed it was going to end when the auctions start, but I guess it doesn't have to. Okay, I went to poly.maximus.pro. I was like, it's .cash. Everything Maximus stuff is .cash. Hedron stuff is .pro. So,
yeah. I also
I need to look at that crypto winter pool.
Somehow I missed the idea that you also could join Poly on the proof of work chains.
That's Dipcatcher. Didn't he confirm that the other day?
He did.
I think so. Yeah,
he did.
So that'll be interesting too.
Yeah. It's going to be.
PulseChain is taking way too long. We all expected it back in November 2021. Pathetic. Well, no expectations. That's one thing. I don't think I expected it. I think if I expected it mid-May, I shouldn't have had those expectations or those hexpectations. I don't know what you guys got on that. We'll take this last fun question before we take off.
I got nothing to say, man. 4 more weeks. What can you say? I was ready in May of 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We were ready, but like, are you? Everyone wants it to come. Everyone wants to be here, but is it that bad that it's not here?
Oh hell no!
I know.
I mean, I'm with you.
No, what I'd say. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I keep on saying that this how I made. Did you get in early on Hex? Because if not, if you did, then you're rich and just enjoy being rich. Okay. If not, get it. It's time to start closing the gap and getting your Hex on both chains. Because afterwards, you're gonna have to pick a chain. So,
and if we would have got it in November 2021, that would mean it would have been on BSC too, and we wouldn't have these advantages that we talked about back and forth of having ETH 2.0. I mean, I wouldn't want Richard to be in the position to be like, okay, are we gonna do a major disruption to now go into ETH 2.0? Now that seems like the better idea later on. Hex took 18 months to 2 years too, so it's you gotta wait. That's all I gotta say. That FOMO weeks. I like it, Patrice. FOMO weeks.
I can't wait. Hey man, I'm glad that we're waiting. I should say we're waiting. I am glad that all proper care is being taken to make sure something good comes out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Imagine he messes this up. Like everyone already is saying like false accusations. If if the launch would be a mess, that would be really bad. It's still recoverable. I think it would still, but it wouldn't be good.
Well, even November 2021. I mean, think about that. That was around the top of the market. So if we launched then, I mean, you think, is it better for PulseChain to launch at the top of the bull market or the bottom of the bear market?
Bottom of the bear.
I would rather it launch that way. I don't know. I think it'd be hard to make good. And I'm not saying you should trade, but after PulseChain comes out, people are going to probably make some trades. Those trades may not be as beneficial making them back then as they would be now. But you could also counter that with, well, a lot of people are going to be selling it now when it comes out because they need money for this or that, or they're just mad or whatever it may be. But I don't know. I think I'd rather have it in my hands now at this market time than I would back then. So funny enough, I think I'm okay waiting a year later for this market condition, knowing what I know now, E2.0 stuff, all those things. So,
yeah. I'm with you.
X and 420, you'll go about 25% in stake bonus will not happen. Game theory changes. Yeah. Alex talking about ICOSA Telegram right now. Yeah, I just I hopefully post a Twitter thread on it. That could I can't really show Telegram on here, but anyways, thanks everyone for joining. It is it's getting a little late my time, so I'm gonna call it a day. Any last words, Crispy Man, Fougar Finance on 100% uptime, number 12? What you guys got to send us off?
I just say to everybody, man, keep the faith. Remember why you got involved. Stick to your principles, and we'll make it through this. We're pretty close to being down at the bottom. Right? It's going to take a few more months. 2023 be a good year.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to know when the bottom is until it already happens. That was the thing I said, is that until there's a serious price rise, a bottom is a bear flag. So
absolutely, buddy.
That's what you just got a dollar cost average. Once you get that bottom pattern, you're buying at a 50% premium. None of this is financial advice, but I'm saying it's just this is a great opportunity the way I see it. So
Michael Light's calling December 15th bottom.
All right.
No. Sooner the better, I think. I mean, I guess. I think if we're trying to get the pain over with, sooner the better. But I don't know. It's not financial advice at any point in time during this conversation. But I hope mad gains for everyone out there. I'll say that.
Me too.
Yeah, good chat, everyone. Good job on this.
Oh, thank you.
Good job out there.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Of course, man. Of course. I'm glad to see you back. It's only been, I lose track. I've been streaming so much these days. I think it was a few days ago we streamed, but like a week or so ago. Yeah, last Tuesday, right?
Yeah, if you guys could check it out on my channel. It's just such a great convo. Yeah.
That was a good conversation. I really liked it. I think one clip came out today on that too. Maybe it was at the hex bottom is in, but the thing keeps going up. I rewatched it myself. It was that good. I really like that clip. Crispy Man, keep doing the God's work out there with Hexfire. Really, really valuable data for us. If anyone wants a walkthrough, I clipped like a 40-minute walkthrough of all of Crispy Man talking about all kinds of stuff on Hexfire, how to use it for all kinds of different charts for every single thing you need for Hex. Pretty much it has it all, and he's adding more features and dashboards all the time. So just search RHMax hexfire.io if you want to check that out. Go to his website. What's your Twitter, Crispy Man?
Yeah, I almost don't want to say it, but it's Crispy underscore man too. Okay. So it's because what it does reveals my branding issues, right? But if you go to hexfire.io, you also see the contact information.
Trying to church it up by spelling it all nicely on here and all that stuff.
Yeah,
By the way, RHMax mugs got the merch.
I gotta get one of those. Where do I get it?
Yeah, sweet. Where do you get it? I was checking with people because again, I don't want to sell anyone anything. So I was actually checking with different places. Like, can I buy coupon codes from you, and then I give them to people, and then they use the coupon codes for you to send them the merch that they want. This merch, of course. So I've been checking on some stuff like that. But until then, local Hex meetups. If either of you make it to the Pacific Northwest, come to a meetup. I'll get you a cup. I'll get you a shirt. I got a shirt coming too. But yeah, this was I debuted it an hour ago on the security AMA, but I'm really liking it. I like the white black contrast, double-sided here. Liking my cup here, so I'll continue to drink well.
Too.
I'm excited to see a t-shirt.
Do you make any ties?
Oh, you make me want to make a t-shirt that has the fake tie on it. I'll wear it. I'll wear it specifically when we're streaming too.
And and I'll wear it on your shows.
You need a tie clip, man. That's what you need. And you don't need special. You need a tie clip.
All right.
Right. It's something.
Like every time I wear a tie, which is like once or twice a year, I prefer to tie it, and I always kind of forget. Every year I forget a little more how to tie a tie. But I always feel more like a man when I tie a tie myself without a clip on. I always feel like, the masculinity is going through me. I can do this.
I wasn't saying get a clip-on tie. I was saying get a tie clip, because you can brand it and put it right on there, and then everybody will see that.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
that conversation went in the direction needed to, though. Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you. Knowing how to tie a tie is important.
It is. If everyone in the chat's like, "Fuck, do I know how to tie a tie? I don't know. I don't know, man. Just try to do that.
We're gonna have to do that on the next video. We'll show everybody how to tie ties.
We're gonna do a segment on tying a tie, and I'll have an RHMax branded tie. There we go. That's a good idea, actually.
And the rabbit goes down the hole.
100% uptime, number 17. I'm gonna bring these gentlemen back with it, and we're gonna tie a tie on live TV here. All right, guys. That was super fun stream. Again, appreciate you two joining me. Thanks, chat. Smash all the buttons, do all the things if you want to. I mean, if you don't want to, that's cool too. If you didn't like the content, then let me know by not doing any of that stuff. I guess that's how you do it, right? Or leave a comment, which is funny enough, good for the algorithm. So either way, I guess I'm gonna get off here and enjoy the rest of my night. Hope everyone else has a great weekend. We are